I hate my partner for having long COVID. He neglects me.
He needed it short, not long.
I feel like I am stuck in a rut with my partner of 7+ years. We got married in December 23, and the first year has been a really long, back-breaking test. By the way, this comes from user Kooky Trust 7463 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. We met in our mid-20s via friends and started dating after 3 months of knowing each other. It was cute and flirty, and stars and sparks were flying everywhere. As it is in any new relationship, the spicy sleep and the vibe were great.
Nice.
Exactly a year later, we moved in together, and I had become the mother in the relationship. Oof. That's moving in with your partner is always, that's a big test.
That's the test that stands on time.
I did most of the cooking, cleaning, and organizing. I also had a 6-day-a-week job while he worked from home even before the pandemic. I grew resentful. Additionally, he stopped being affectionate towards me. The spicy sleep was non-existent. Another, catch-22 of, moving in with your partner. Everyone always goes oh, yeah, the spice is going to go crazy.
It goes crazy.
It usually goes the opposite way.
It goes crazy for, the first, once you guys settle in, after that, probably, a week to 2 weeks, and you're I'm tired.
And why is that? I don't know. Let us know in the comments why that is. We had a spicy sleep maybe once per quarter. Mind you, we are still 25, 26, and had more energy than we have now in our 30s. I also realized he would text his ex and a girl he met online and dated before me. They only met once. The texts were sort of suggestive, but I thought we're still young. Men text me in a similar fashion, and I play along if I do find it worthwhile to maintain that contact.
Okay.
I mean, there is, I get what she just said. I can understand there is you don't want to necessarily cut off every single person who sends a flirty text to you. But at the same time, if the husband's the one
I would
initializing it.
I mean, I would if I'm
okay, but what if it's a coworker and it's now if I cut this person off, it's going to completely destabilize my work life because now it's going to be dramatic. And whereas you could just not engage in the flirtation and let it go.
You're in a relationship. Just hey, I love you or I like you, but as a friend, let's not be.
No, I'm not saying ignore it.
Oh no, I would just be let's lean back here on being that as flirty as we were, or it's just you're kind of, that's a very thin ice kind of thing. You're on the tightrope of is this shit?
I think him initiating the texting is
not a good thing.
That's
not a good thing, especially with the person, especially with the culprits that he's doing it with.
You can't call out every man because let's be honest, they're all the same. I also spoke to my ex. Nothing like he did, I realize now, but I did because we had a history and I missed him when things got bad with my current man. So it turns out
this is all bad. This is all
you're
so
the same
bad.
as every man. Then is that what I'm hearing?
They just don't do that. I don't like any of that.
Yeah.
That paragraph was all not good.
Let's not do that. Fights about the distribution of work were a weekly occurrence, but I stuck around. Dating is hard. Finding a decent man is harder. Everyone has issues, and we all need to work them out. Can't always bolt. That's what I thought. The next year, he met that girl he was seeing online before me. We lived in a different city, and she lived in our hometown. We both belonged to the same town. They spent the evening together. I checked his phone. That's how I found out. Wow. I didn't say anything. The texts only said, quote, "Thanks for having me over. Good fun." I prayed it was only a casual meeting. They had met and developed a connection online before he met me. Then she cheated and they decided to part ways. There was unfinished business there. I was hoping they only met to hang out and come to peace with what could have been. I pray nothing happened. This is a mess. This is a huge mess.
You didn't confront him.
Well, this is all in the past too. This isn't even the main story. This is pretext.
This is
context.
Just break up. Just break up. You're 1 year into your relationship. You're basically mamaing him, and you don't have a good relationship with him, unless if you want to fix that right now. But he looks like he's cheating.
To this day, I don't know if anything happened. I confronted him years later, and he said that they only hung out for a little bit, and then he came home. He deleted their chat, so I'll never know. Well, that tells you everything you need to know right there. Honestly. If you delete the chat, that's you indict yourself.
And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Even though you know exactly what he's talking about. I don't.
Over the years, I felt uncomfortable in my relationships. I always let it go because I feel like my parents had a terrible relationship and I'm just hoping not to be them. Doubtful and bickering all the time. I thought cooking and cleaning was an issue with me and that if I provided a solution instead of bickering, that would help us move forward. About the woman, I thought, so what, he spoke to women who he was more than friends with. Am I that insecure? I should mature because there will be many who will make me uncomfortable. After the pandemic, we got closer to our 30s and had matured. I still had doubts, but we had more happy days. Intimacy was always an issue, and he even said that intimacy was not a big deal for him. It broke my heart and I felt like I was in the pits. But many friends tell me they were in similar boats and that your intimacy levels stop matching after the honeymoon period. I carried on.
It just seems like now you're just settling.
It's like you guys are like barely in
a relationship anymore.
Yeah, and you guys are already in like a dead marriage. It's been like a couple years. That's from the sound of it. It's like, I don't know. If anyone said to me, it's like, yeah, the physical intimacy in a relationship, it literally doesn't matter to me. I'd be like, okay.
It matters to me.
We might not see eye to eye on that. In December of 2020, he was let go from his job. He decided to move back to his parents' house. It was an abrupt decision. He didn't discuss it with me. He just told me. I was gutted to lose him, but I was okay to live alone and maintain some distance from him too. I was always in a relationship in my 20s, and this break without a breakup was a good option. I was mature, and the distance would help me not be so dependent on him. I was depressed when he left, but I was also looking at the bright side. I exercised more. I had more time to do girly things instead of just couple things, which was mostly what the boys wanted. Watch live sports, smoke up and discuss politics, etc. Those are not dates.
Yeah, wait.
You're like, and I could do girly things instead of couple things like watching sports and discussing the Roman Empire. Those are boy activities.
Yeah, wait. We were doing a couple things like hanging with the boys.
Yeah, like
What?
That's not what couples do. It sounds like this guy, it sounds like you've had a real bad relationship with this guy.
This doesn't sound like a relationship at all.
There's no give and take here. We met every 2 to 3 months. Either he or I would visit. At the very first visit, I saw him chat with his college friend that he had a massive crush on. They had almost gotten in a relationship, but life had other plans for them. They had been friends for over a decade, and so I swallowed that bitter pill and didn't let it bother me. It was just a friend. They had been friends for a decade, and despite the crush from both sides, they had only kissed once after getting a little intoxicated. He bragged about it before we started dating. I thought, so what? Friends talk. You need to stop thinking so what about everything.
You're like, that's fine. You're brushing it under the rug or the carpet.
I mean,
that's not okay.
I guess the context is that it was before they were dating, for sure.
But now he's doing it. He's doing it now.
Dating, and you were like, yeah, I made out with that girl.
OP, these are blatant red flags in front of you that he's consistently talking, and he looks so. It sounds like he looks like a little like enthralled to be talking to these women rather than talk to you.
He seems to not be staying true to his like, oh, I don't really care. It's like, well, then why do you seem to have crushes on all these girls?
Why do you get so giddy when you talk to these girls?
Yeah.
Why are you talking to other girls like this? I mean, I like how OP's like very like laid back and trying to be mature about it. Like, oh, he can talk to other girls, but there's a line of like he's had a crush on her. Oh, he has a past with her, or like he deleted the text. There is some context where like you can be chill and like be very understanding and not, overbearing, but this is bad.
A few months later, he went on a trip with 2 of his friends to the mountains. I had never met these friends. They were from his college. It was a week-long trip, and in the middle of it, the girls joined them. My partner said it was a surprise to them too. I too was alerted when this happened. He sensed it in my voice, I think. He told me she was sleeping in a different room and that she was being pricey, demanding some special food and drinks that they didn't have. I was gutted and we had a fight. He assured me that I was crazy for thinking such a wild thought. So I calmed myself down and I thought he was telling me all this, so why would he have a fare and tell me about their trip? He then told me that they met a couple of times and that was that. It just keeps getting worse. 3 months after his trip, he visited me. I slyly checked his phone and realized they slept in the same room with another friend present. The texts were about the third friend's snoring habits. I was livid. I confronted him. He told me that he was sorry for lying, but he only did it because he heard how upset and quiet I sounded when he told me she was coming. So we've got lying, we've got maybe cheating, we've got no intimacy. That's 3 big strikes for me.
He seems like he just doesn't care about you at all, OP.
Yeah.
And I think the list is to get a little bit longer here with what we know.
He told me to check his phone and see if there was anything to point to any wrongdoing. He said that he lied, but there was nothing going on. I checked his phone and realized that they chatted every day, late into the night. They met 2 to 3 times per week. They played badminton together. They sent each other selfies. I'm feeling sick while typing this, but the biggest revelation was his substance use. We smoked only as a couple, only the devil's lettuce. He had told me that he had tried some adventure previously, but nothing ongoing. It was only at one party in college. He liked it, but that was not our scene. In the text, I realized they are discussing more serious substances that he did at a New Year's party after the trip. He said that he felt sick and will stay away from it, which is my advice to everyone out there. Stay away from illegal substances.
It's illegal for a reason.
In the text, I also got the sense that he flirted with her and that she only reciprocated. There was also never a mention of me. Break up. You break up. How do you stay with this guy? You break up. This isn't even about him having long COVID. You hate him because of all this.
This man was doing more coupley things with this woman than he did with you, OP.
Yeah. He's playing badminton and sending selfies.
He didn't even do that once with OP, it seems like.
Yeah. What the heck?
That's what I'm saying. He's getting giddy about these other women.
Maybe she thought he was single. How could I blame her? I was shattered. After so many years of dating, turning a blind eye to all the red flags, I was finally opening my eyes to a reality I didn't even think was possible. Who the F? I'm not even going to say that one. It's like I didn't even know him anymore. I cried my heart out. I felt sick, and I don't think I will ever be able to process it. Anyway, over the next few weeks, he tried to assure me that nothing of that sort had happened, that he would stop talking to her, and if I wanted, he would even text her saying that my girlfriend is uncomfortable with us and our dynamic. It calmed me down, and I didn't ask him to do it, but I felt better. He wanted to save the relationship. He said that he would give me full access to his phone and that I could also demand him for a urine test anytime I wanted. He was sorry for the suggestive text and for the substance use. He said nothing bad happened with her and that it was flirting from eons ago that had suddenly continued. The substances, he said, was an odd peer pressure where his friends from college that he loved hanging out with started doing it, and he thought, why not? I was slowly convinced.
Dude.
He then went back, and I was going to see him in 45 days. He maintained all the promises. When he met his friends, he got a urine test, and I could see he was clean. He only texted her once, only in response to her incessant meme sending. She didn't meet him. I saw a therapist who spoke in Barnum statements, but asked me to find my self-worth and eventually what is important to me. The relationship was important. I had given it 7 years now. Younger people live in the moment, and my single friends were miserable and desperate. I needed the relationship. It did make me feel secure. He's a nice man. He's smart, knowledgeable, and kind to all people. Yeah, especially his ex-girlfriends. I found myself a job back home and moved to our hometown. I told my parents about him and that we wanted to get married. My folks were tentative, but when they met him, they liked him and were thrilled. Despite being old school and opposed to the idea of different religions marrying, they were very accepting. I took that as a sign of a better future. And I stopped therapy. Oh, God.
So
when we fought, I brought up this incident. I could sense he felt guilty, and I think that is a better way forward. We got married end of last year, and it was fun for a few days. Intimacy was still a big issue. Girl, I wish I knew you because I would have told you not to marry this guy.
Get out.
That was such a not good idea after everything that we've just read here.
Especially, it seems like you've brought these up and he just doesn't care.
Well, and it's, the thing for me is outside of, just with OP's thing, marrying somebody because it's just like it feels secure. That's not why you do that. But after his trip to the mountains, he got COVID and developed some nerve issues. He started having panic attacks and developing involuntary muscle catches with any repeated motion. Many tests later, doctors are unable to figure out what it is. But it means that spicy sleep, which is nothing but repeated motion, is now out the window completely. Am I the a-hole for hating him for this long COVID?
It's definitely not the COVID.
So
From
if
the,
you, I'm
from
going
the context we got, this has nothing to do with that.
if you actually just hate him because of the long COVID, yeah, you are an a-hole. But like Keon said, it's everything before the long COVID
You
that
hate.
should inform your opinion about this guy.
Don't blame the long. You're like, oh, that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
If I found out that I was dating a girl who was like, I don't know, having secret badminton sessions with her ex-boyfriend and sending selfies and
Text every
doing all this and
day
doing all
into the late
every
night,
day,
and he's
like
not
they're
doing,
still dating?
and he's not doing that with you, his actual partner.
Yeah, immediately leaving. Life is still the same. I do most of the work, and we haven't had spicy sleep in 4 months now. He also takes heavy medicines to keep the long COVID in check, which makes him drowsy all day. We can't go for a walk or play any physical games because of this illness. We also don't sleep on a regular bed, but on a hard surface with no mattress, which makes even cuddling a big challenge. Are you sleeping on the floor? What are we doing? Is that for the long COVID? I'm so confused. Even stirring a spoon causes an issue, so I do all the cooking and cleaning. The worst part is I've never spoken to anyone about this, no friend, no family. The therapist's professionalism didn't help me connect, and past their 30s, it is hard to even meet a friend, let alone tell them this childish nonsense from half a decade ago. And by the way, you can join us for a half decade, a whole decade, for the entire foreseeable future. Every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and TikTok. Just tap on our profile and you're in.
There's so many blatant red flags that OP was just like, that's fine.
Right.
And then I think it all just piled up to COVID, and now I can't be with him, and I have to do all this for him. You were already doing all of that.
Let it be known, if you see red flags in a relationship, it's best to not ignore them. It's best to address them as soon as possible.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I want to be the cool girlfriend or the cool partner. I'm like, you can talk to those girls. Like, it's not right, but like, I don't want to be like jealous. I don't want to seem jealous or like seem like I'm crazy. But
yeah,
there are times where we're like, no, that's just not right.
Oh, well, let's finish this off here. I feel like I lost my youth for someone who cares zilch about me. I am not a high libido woman. I just want to be desired once a month at least. Am I crazy to expect this? We've only been married for a year now. How am I assuming the role of a caretaker already? He is not evil. He constantly apologizes for his illness, but I feel like I am in a rut. Can someone tell me what to do? Just tell me. I can't do this anymore. I constantly I constantly think about taking some of his sleeping pills to calm myself down. Did the substances cause his illness? Is it really long COVID or self-inflicted? Please help me. You can't hate this guy for having an illness. You can hate the amount, that it wears on you, like that he can't help. But really the problem here is that you married this guy when you knew in your heart that it was probably not a great thing to do. You looked past all of the red flags to marry this guy, and now you find yourself in a situation where you're very unhappy.
Like I said, take away the illness, he's still the same guy. I mean, yes, the motory and like sensory stuff, but he was not doing that prior, and he was still a little baby boy, and you were taking care of him. Like, again, at the very beginning, you were like, oh, we moved in together, and I'm mamaing him. Like,
yeah, that's not a good sign.
That hasn't changed. It's been stagnant, and I feel like you haven't conversed that problem and that issue with him It's at least from what we read that
It's-
you didn't call him out. You're like, hey, you know, this is happening. This is not gonna work. You just like, okay, he's not gonna do it. I'll just keep doing it.
The issue needs to be pushed. And at this point, I think it's time to divorce. I think you're in an unhappy marriage. I don't think that your partner's going to be able to meet you halfway.
No.
So
on the
I
borderline.
think you need to not, you don't need to blow up about it, but I think you need to approach your partner and be like, I think we would both be better off not married.
Yeah. That's fine, and that's okay. And I know
And
you're
things
scared.
will get better for you.
I know you said, "Oh, I'm scared. 30s, I can't make friends. I can't meet people." Well, you can totally meet people. You could totally make friends. Don't sell yourself short.
Go play some badminton.
Yeah,